Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Adrian here. Welcome back to the channel and to the first Blast Online post-stream vlog. Now, for those of you that are new to my channel, what is a post-stream vlog? Well, it's basically a short, condensed wrap-up and recap of everything that I've experienced in the past streams that I've done for the day on Blast Online, and I usually record this right after the stream. So for today, I have streamed 3 times for Blast Online. One in the morning, one in the evening, and then on Twitch, one late at night. So I'm recording this right after the Twitch stream, and we have a lot to talk about. So let's get straight to it. Before I even begin talking about my experiences with the game so far on day 1, I think it's hard if I were to just pass up talking about launch issues. Guys, this is the elephant in the room, and I don't want to ignore it. It is quite a significant thing because a lot of people have been kind of calling me out on, why haven't you covered the launch issues? It's quite a big deal. Lots of people are asking for refunds because they can't play with the game. Look, I'll say this real quickly. An MMO launch is always going to be plagued by some technical side issues like these, servers going down, login queues, lots of crashes. These things tend to happen. In Bless's case, I'm just gonna say, having been around for a couple of MMO launches, it's pretty bad, I will say, but it's not like the worst. But today's day and age, when it comes to 2018, with the sort of technology that we now have and how fast information travels and how demanding and the player base is towards instant gratification of I want to play now, I paid this money, I want to play now, that kind of thing. Yeah, I think NeoWiz could have done a better job. And as soon as I saw that they were only gonna launch on today, with 2 servers, those 2 servers, Tanara for NA and then the other EU servers, I told my Discord, I told everybody in my Discord with a screenshot of that notification that this is either going to be very controlled or it's going to be messy as hell. And unfortunately, it's a messy launch. People just overcrowding, they had to introduce and add more servers. And the problem with that is you have players that have spent $150 US dollars on the collector's edition for those benefits, the exclusive skins, the membership perks. And when you claim that on a character on, let's say, the first server, Tanara, and what happens is it just gets flooded, too many people join that, and then your guild all of a sudden says, we can't play on Tanara anymore because we've got other high-ranking guild members that can't enter the game. And we can't create our characters on the faction that we want to because now factions are getting locked because too many players are on the Union side. So we're going to have to lock that. You can only join the higher end faction. All these issues, we saw a ton of that on day 1's launch, and unfortunately, I heard a lot of that. Like, oh man, I'm not giving up on $150. I'm going to try and get NeoWiz to open up more channels on a server, for example, to make sure more players can get in. And then so many people have been talking about refunds. All these things we cannot ignore. The launch issues are there, and NeoWiz, you guys will have to learn from this. This was a pretty poor launch because a lot of people will put that as a negative. I've already watched 2 Blast Online day 1 reviews, and launch issues were a major part of the negativity. Fair enough. I jumped in 3 streams, as I said, 5 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, and an hour and a half at night. I focus on gameplay. I focus on what makes the MMO fun, and that's what this vlog I'm going to focus on. So launch issues, I'm going to put it out there. Blast Online's launch, not the best. It's quite terrible, but let's move that to the side. I want to talk about the game, the gameplay. Let's get straight into it. And again, this vlog is specially made for you guys that don't have the time to sit through my entire 9-hour marathon. So this is just going to give you snippets of what I've experienced, and hopefully, for those of you that are thinking about jumping into Bless for the advanced access, this is going to help you out a little bit. Let's start off with gameplay now. I created a paladin class, a human paladin, as my main review character because, like I said many times before, I do like the class archetype, and I jumped into the game to see what it's all about. From a graphic standpoint, because of how heavy the stress of the servers are, FPS was an issue. A lot of people were watching me, stream stuttering. I think my FPS was way below 40 and 30, so I had to drop my in-game graphics from the preset of 5, which is the highest, to like the preset of 3, which is probably medium, and that made it more smoother. From a graphic standpoint, it's nice. I do like the look of the world, and from an aesthetic point of view, Blast Online seems to have influences from games like Black Desert Online and Final Fantasy XIV. Other people have chipped in and said there's a bit of Blade and Soul in there, and when you mix all of that together, you get the final result, which is Blast Online. To me, it just looks like something I've not seen before from an MMO perspective, especially the depth of view of your character. When you zoom out, you get that BDO feel, and then when you zoom in, you get that Final Fantasy XIV feel, which is great. Now, as far as combat goes, the early combat system was what really got me. I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. Because for whatever class you play, you're going to have a set amount of standard skills that are going to be called the chain starters. I don't think that's the accurate word, but I'll talk about that later. And once you hit off these skills, and then you start the chain, and in that chain link you then hit different combos, R to do a specific skill, and then at later levels you'll unlock the T slot, so that you can, instead of hitting the R, you can now hit the T skill to diversify your attack. So R could be a more damaging skill, and T for the paladin could be the healing skill or whatever, or a buffing skill. So that, in that regard, I sit on stream, it almost feels like you're playing a card game. You show your first hand, and then you play your cards depending on what skill you have, how much mana you have, and what the situation is. If it calls for more damage, then you hit the combo that does more damage. I kind of like that. The combat system for me so far, pretty interesting. Although I will say that the early level for the paladin can be pretty brutal, and that's down to the poor new player experience. The first half an hour, the tutorial is horrible. And in one of my Blast videos prior to launch, I said one of my concerns is going to be localization. Are they going to get it right? Is the translation going to be decent enough for a global audience to absorb and look at it, and in a glance understand what they're supposed to do, what the class is all about, how the tutorial works and everything? Unfortunately, the intro tutorial for Blast Online is just a mess. The translation, the localization, the different wording of the skills that you need to buy, for example, and slot in, what they tell you on the information on the quest log is completely different, or the name is completely different from what it is in the skill panel. So you have to do the work to try and use logic to understand what this translation means. For example, an interrupt could mean something else. You got to deduce that with the different logic. So what does interrupt? What are the other synonyms of interrupt? And then you got to find the proper skill for that, and then slot into your bar for that quest to proceed. Terrible new player experience. Somebody came to my stream and was like, yeah, the tutorial sucked, I asked for a refund, that kind of thing. And to think that is your first introduction into Blast, if you can't even get that right, oh my god, I was already worrying for the game. Luckily, later on, the more you play, especially the intro story quests, you'll see that they try and fix things up. But the localization issue remains. Translation for dialogue, you'll see spelling errors and everything. And these are, you would say that it is fluff, and I'm being really nitpicky right now. But I am saying what I'm saying. I have to highlight what my experiences are, and these are the facts. These are in game. Will we see that change or refine and polish at a later date? I don't know. As for the story itself, look, we know Blast has all these races, and each race will have probably a different starter quest story experience. I have a human paladin, as I said. I also create a human mage, so I've played through the human starter story a couple of times now. And it's a little slow in terms of the build-up. Your origin story for your character is really, really limp. It takes you a while to even, you find out why you're joining the Union Army for, what's going on, and you start off doing the really mundane stuff, figuring out, okay, who are the bandits attacking this town, what's your role in it. The game doesn't do exposition really well. Like, I expected to see a cutscene even prior to entering the world for the first time, just explaining what this world is, who are the main players, what's at stake between the two factions. Since we're going to be PvPing a lot, What does that mean for the world? None of that is explained at all. You just start your character and then you just start, doing the simpleton things, farming, killing bandits, killing spiders, that kind of thing. And it takes a while before the story starts getting good. As for the story itself, underwhelming at the moment, and I'm only level 12 as of the end of tonight's streaming marathon. Level 13 is when the first dungeon gets unlocked, and I'm looking forward to trying that out, and hopefully the dungeon that leads through, or the story that leads you through the dungeon, is going to pick up. But right now, pretty underwhelming, I have to say. One of the best things that happened to me on stream was figuring out the taming system, how that works. Just following the main story, you're going to unlock a lot of these, side tutorials that's going to teach you the different mechanics of the game. For example, how do you get a mount? How does the mount energy system works? How do you replenish your mount's energy and all this stuff? One of them is taming. So you will get like a stack of taming papers or whatever you call them, and you have 10 of these to go out in the world and spend that on taming creatures. I was really excited by that because that means any creature that I come across, I can just use the scroll and play a mini game with the bar thing, and you got to hit the space bar when you're in the green area, and you got to do that like 5 times before you officially tame something. You can tame like companions, pets to follow you around, and then obviously mounts. So I was just in this area full of bugs, and I was like, yeah, that's a cool looking cricket. I'm going to try and tame it. And I managed to tame it, just off the cuff, randomly. So that was really exciting, and I've seen lots of players writing different stuff out in the world now, like giant tarantulas, and I saw like the flying mount wyverns that they use for transport, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to what else you can tame in the game so far. As for questing experience, there hasn't really been a proper hub crawl. From level 1 to level 12, all you're doing, it seems, is just following the main story. There hasn't been like sufficient or important side quests that has been popping up that you can pick up and do to learn more about the exposition of the blessed world, at least for your race. You'll come across, especially if you play human, you'll come across 2 different towns. The main town that looks like Venice, on water, and then later down like a farming town. But there's nothing in there besides the tutorial type quests and then just the NPC selling, vendor stuff. There isn't side quests popping up to try and tell you who these people are, what their struggle is, what the history of this town is. You get none of that. You just play through the main story, and that kind of feels a little empty to me, like kind of shallow. But that also reminds me a lot of Black Desert Online, for example. When you first start off, you're just following the main story, and then later on, when you get to a certain level, you can unlock all these life quests, and then these towns have more things to do in them. Bless doesn't have that yet. I'm still only level 12, as I said, so we'll have to see in the future streams how that turns out. Now, the one thing that I do like is at a certain level, I think it's at level 10 or something, you unlock these hunting quests, which reminds me a lot of the system in Final Fantasy, where, you'll open up Final Fantasy 14, you'll get like these side objectives to go hunt monsters for additional XP, and you do them in like 4 or 5 or whatever. Bless is the same thing, you hunt a certain amount of bandits for tier 1, and then you get your rewards XP and some gold or whatever, and then you go tier 2. So that means whenever you go to a location to do your main quest, these hunting quests will pop up as well, so that gives you more incentive to kill the monsters that that are around you for the additional XP. Because after level 13, apparently, there's going to be main story quests that are going to be level locked. So you have to keep your level as high as possible, just so you can follow the main story more cohesively, or you'll be falling behind. And another thing that I'm trying to pick up is obviously kill more monsters in the area that I've been questing in. And so far, that experience hasn't really detracted anything from my main questing experience. It just feels like I'm playing BDO all over again. And because I've had that Asian MMO experience, this isn't really like a downer for me. I just wish that the quality of the quest and the writing and the dialogue and the localization and the translations were better. Now, the thing I haven't brought up yet that I really want to talk about is the voice acting. I was excited to know that voice acting was going to be a big part in Bless. I'm let down by the quality of the voice acting, to be honest. Dialogue that happens indoors, the reverb is very high, the echo make no sense. It sounds very amateurish. It sounds like people recorded it in their bathroom, and it's just amplified when you're out like in the living room of a mansion, but it sounds like we're talking a bathroom. It kills immersion, even though you're trying to absorb the story, and that's what I usually do. I absorb story. I'm a story hunter. I just couldn't get into it because the voiceover is just so jarring, The music, we know Hans Zimmer composed it. Parts of the area music's beautiful. Even the main menu music is beautiful. That's totally Hans Zimmer. And other parts, all of a sudden the music just cuts out and dies. Although that could be like an optimization or just a launch issue thing. That basically is my day one experience so far. Lots of things that I wish would have been better. At the same time, lots of things I'm really excited about. Taming, combat, and I'm waiting to see how classes like the Paladin performs in dungeons, for example, because of the combat system. And the alt that I rolled, the Mage, is super powerful, great DPS class, very fluid, kills things in a heartbeat. So I'll try and level the two classes at once, but the Paladin's going to be my main review character. So that really is my thoughts for this first post-stream vlogs, and I've done 3 of them on day 1, so basically it's a vlog for day 1. Those are my thoughts. Now, for those of you that have been playing Blast Online, I would love to hear what your day 1 experiences are, so feel free to share them in the comments section below. And for those of you that are going to be following my leveling journey in Blast Online, there's going to be a link to the playlist in the description box where you can click on that and be sure to follow that or bookmark that, because all the future streams and vlogs are going to be put into this playlist. So as we move on to the next month, leading up to the review, you'll get a one-stop shop for all the content that I create for Bless in a review capacity. So be sure to bookmark that playlist link. And finally, everybody that jumped in on the streams, all 3 streams on day 1, there's a lot of you that came back for the second stream and then came back for the third stream. Guys, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream so far. I am exhausted as hell, but it was so worth it, jumping into Blast for the first time and experiencing the game through my eyes as you guys are watching it. Some of you never played Blast or not even thinking about playing Blast, but to have you guys there was pretty cool. So thank you very much. Now, for those of you that have nothing to do with Blast, you guys hate Blast, you guys hate the fact that I'm covering Blast, bear with me, you guys. I still have content coming out. The Rift Prime review is going to be coming out really soon. So is the Elder Scrolls Online Somerset DLC. That is almost done, by the way, so you guys will see that very, very soon. So don't worry if I'm seem like I'm covering Blast exclusively. You guys will have more content really, really soon. So that's it from me. Hit the like button for Blast Online, and if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to my channel for more MMO content, and obviously the Blast Online review, which will be coming out in a month when I hit level cap and do some fun stuff. And yeah, that's about it. So once again, Jerome Adrian here, and I thank you for watching. Hey, welcome to the end screen. If you've made it this far, it means you've watched the entire video, and I thank you very much for that. If you want to watch more videos, you can click the cards at the bottom here, anyone would do. And you can subscribe to my channel by hitting the big round button here to get notifications on all my latest videos. See you guys in the next video.